Yes, welcome and good evening to my teachers program. So today I am going to take the next portion of our company accounts. So that is what is called the forfeiture of shares. So the last episode, so we are already discussed the meaning of company accounts and issue of shares, the method for issue the shares, and different terms for issue the shares, and the meaning of prospectus, and the shares can be issued for cash, and also the shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. So these all points are completed now. See, after discussing all these points, now we can see the last part of this chapter, the forfeiture of shares, the procedure of forfeiture, and the pro rata allotment. So now listen, so let me start with what do you mean by forfeiture of shares. You know, the word meaning of forfeiture means the cancellation of shares. So under what circumstances you are going to forfeit the shares? The company can forfeit the shares under the following circumstances. The company is going to cancel the shares of the shareholder. So under what circumstances the company can forfeit the shares? Suppose I am a shareholder. The company have no power to cancel my shares without prior notice. So under what circumstances the company is going to forfeit my shares? So here you know that the forfeiture of shares means the cancellation of shares, or the right of the shareholder is removed from the company forever is known as forfeiture of shares. See once again, so what do you mean by forfeiture of shares? Forfeiture of shares means cancellation of shares, or otherwise what is the effect of this forfeiture of shares? The right of the shareholder is removed from the company forever. Then what are the main circumstances? Under what circumstances a share can be forfeited? So the procedure is as follows. Suppose the shareholder is not paid allotment money and first call and final call, or otherwise if the shareholder is not paid allotment money and calls, and as per the schedule, or the company is already given a letter to the shareholder to pay the allotment money or the calls money. So within this stipulated time, if the shareholder is not paid allotment money and calls money, and the share can be forfeited by the company. But the procedure is as follows. The procedure number one is, it should be authorized in the articles of association. So first point is, the company can cancel the shares under the following circumstances. But what is the procedure? The procedure is, it should be authorized in the articles of association, number one. And number two, a prior notice should be given to the shareholder. So what do you mean by prior notice? As per Companies Act, 14 days notice should be given to the defaulting shareholder, and stating that if you are not paying the money within a particular period or within a stipulated period, the company have right to cancel that particular shares. That is the contents of that particular notice or which you are giving to the shareholder. So once again I am repeating. So what is the procedure for forfeiture of shares? The forfeiture means cancellation of shares. So if the shareholder is not paid allotment money or calls money, or he fails to pay calls money, so the company have full right to cancel that type of shares. The procedure is, first of all, it should be authorized in the articles of association, and the second point is 14 days prior notice should be given to the defaulting shareholder. And the contents of that particular notice is, if the shareholder should pay the money with interest within a stipulated period, and if the shareholder is not paying that money, either allotment or first call or final call, whatever it is. So if the shareholder is not paying the money within a stipulated time, the right of the shareholder is removed from the company forever. This is what is called the forfeiture of shares, and this is the procedure as per Companies Act 1956. And again, after giving this notice, if the company is not getting any response from the shareholder, so what is the next procedure? See, we are already given 14 days notice, but the company is not getting any response from the shareholder, and that should be recorded in the company's minute book through a resolution, and afterwards we are going to cancel the shares. This procedure is known as forfeiture of shares. I think you got the point. What do you mean by forfeiture of shares? So next, now I am going to discuss, see, what are the accounting treatments for the forfeiture of shares. So example, you are already paid application money and you are not paying allotment money or a calls money, and also we are already sent a due notice. The shareholder is not given any response. So what is the procedure? The company have full right to cancel the shares. So now, what is the accounting procedures for forfeiture of shares? Suppose our shareholder is not paid calls money. Once the share was issued at a par value, but the shareholder is not paid calls money. So what is the entry for forfeiture? So very simple entry, because here no premium is there and no discount is there. And once the share was issued at a par value or a face value, but the shareholder is not paid calls money, the forfeiture entry is share capital account debtor to calls in arrears to forfeiture account. See, look at the monitor. So the entry is share capital account debtor to calls in arrears and to forfeiture account. So this is the entry for the forfeiting of shares which was issued at par value. The case number 2, suppose once the share was issued at a premium and the shareholder, that premise is along with the allotment money, but the shareholder is not paid allotment money on first call and final call. So what is the accounting treatments for forfeiture of shares? See, look at the monitor. So journal entry is share capital account debtor and premium account debtor to calls in arrears and to forfeiture. So our accounting journal entries are, if premium is not collected and the premium is with allotment money and the shareholder is not paid allotment money and calls. See, our journal entry is share capital account debtor and security premium account debtor to calls in arrears and to forfeiture. So that means the case is, if the shareholder is not paid allotment money and also we are not getting premium, so our journal entry is share capital account forfeiture, share capital account debtor and security premium account debtor to calls in arrears and to forfeiture. So now our third procedure is, once the share was issued at a discount, once the share was issued at a discount and the shareholder is not paid allotment money and calls. So what is the accounting treatments and what is the journal entry for forfeiture of shares? So the entry is as follows. The entry is share capital account debtor to discount to calls in arrears and to forfeiture. You know that here one technical point is there. Once we are issuing the shares at a discount and discount is debited, and now we are forfeiting that particular shares, the discount is credited. So your entry is share capital account debtor and to discount to share discount account to calls in arrears and to forfeiture account. So now listen, once again I am repeating these all entries. So at the time of forfeiture of shares, so case number 1, once the share was issued at par value but the shareholder is not paid allotment money and calls money. So your journal entry is, so share capital account debtor to calls in arrears to forfeiture. So here you can see calls in arrear means maybe it is allotment or maybe first call or it is a final call all together. So as per our new syllabus, so we are using the word is known as calls in arrears. So share capital account debtor to calls in arrears and to forfeiture account. So the case is, the shareholder is not paid calls money and also it was issued at a par value or a face value. And case number 2, if the shareholder is not paid allotment and calls and which was issued at a premium, so your entry is So what is the entry? Share capital account debtor and premium account debtor to call scenarios and to forfeiture. So then third case is, once the share was issued at a discount and the shareholder is not paid allotment and calls. So what is entry for forfeiture? Look at the monitor. So entry will be share capital account debtor to share discount account and to call scenarios and to forfeiture account. So these are the three treatments. I think now it is clear what do you mean by forfeiture of shares and what are the procedure for forfeiture of shares which was issued at par value and which was issued at a premium and which was issued at a discount. Now you can look at the next point. If the forfeited shares, can a forfeited shares reissued at a discount or a premium? So what is the answer? So these forfeited shares, you know that the shareholder is already paid application money and maybe he is already paid allotment money and he is maybe paid first call also, but the shareholder is not paid final call. And even if he is not paid final call, whatever the amount is paid by the shareholder in the form of an application money, allotment money and first call, so that we are not returned to the shareholder. So we are going to cancel that shares, and again you know that this share is the property of the company, so that is why we are going to reissue these forfeited shares. So here the next procedure is, what are the legal and what are the procedures for reissuing of forfeiture shares. So you are already forfeited and that shares now I am going to reissue. So again you can see that the forfeited shares can be reissued at par value and the forfeited shares can be reissued at a premium and forfeited shares can be reissued at a discount. So look at the monitor. So first case is very simple, you know that the bank account debtor to share capital account. So that means the forfeited shares we are reissuing at a par value. So there no question of loss is there. So the entry is bank account debtor to share capital account. But here second cases, the when forfeited shares are reissued at a discount. So what is entry? Bank account debtor discount forfeiture account debtor to share capital account. See once again, when forfeited shares are reissued at a discount, already forfeited. So that forfeited shares, because I already said, please note down that point. So these shares are the property of the company. So that is why the companies are not keeping the shares as it is. So at any time they can reissue the shares either at par value or at a discount or at a premium. So the case number 1, we are going to reissue these forfeited shares at par value. That is what entry is very simple, bank account debtor to share capital account. But here the second case is the forfeited shares may be reissued at a discount. So there you can see that, because we are issuing, the value of the share is maybe 10, but I am reissuing the shares at the rate of 8. So here you can see 2 is a discount. So that is a loss to the company. But here you can see what is the whether it is a loss or a profit, then we can calculate at the time of forfeiture and capital reserve. We can understand. So what is the profit or a loss? So here answer is the forfeited shares are issued at a discount. The journal entry is bank account debtor, forfeiture account debtor to share capital account. See the contents. We are going to reissue the forfeited shares. Our journal entry is bank account debtor, forfeiture account debtor to share capital account. Then again another, see next third case is the forfeited shares are reissued at a premium. So your journal entry is bank account debtor to premium account to share capital account. So now listen. So my dear students, we are studying now main 2 points. So what do you mean by forfeiture of shares and what are the legal proceedings which is followed by the company for forfeiting the shares, and at the time of forfeiting the shares what are the journal entries should be passed by the company, and also the forfeited shares can be reissued at a par value or at a discount or at a premium. So these are the points now we are studying. Then again you can see the last point is these forfeited shares, after issuing these shares whether we are getting a profit or a loss. So the last point, the capital profit is transferred to this forfeiture account is transferred to capital reserve, Our last entry is share forfeiture account debtor to capital reserves. See, forfeiture, this capital reserve means the profit out of forfeiture of shares. This is a capital gain. The profit out of forfeiture of shares is transferred to capital reserve. So these are the main procedures for the forfeiture of shares. Now you can see, once again I am repeating the entire things. First we have studied the meaning of company, and also we have studied how the companies are collecting the necessary capital. You know that their main point is, just underline all the points what I am going to say. So first of all, you know that the prospectus is there. Then on the basis of the prospectus, company can issue the shares. Then second points, what are the different terms for issue the shares? The shares terms are, the shares can be issued at a par value or at a premium or at a discount. Either the company can issue equity shares or the company can issue a preference shares. Then next procedure, you know that allotment procedure. Then afterwards you can see the calls in arrears and calls in advance. And next procedure, the shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. Then now today what we have studied, the forfeiture of shares. Now you can see the last part of this chapter, that is what is called, you know, pro rata allotment. So what do you mean by pro rata allotment? So pro rata allotment means, see, suppose company's requirements is 3 lakh. Company's requirements is 2 lakh. See, look at the monitor. So India Limited invited applications for issuing 2 lakh equity shares of 10. The amount was payable as follows. Application is 3 and allotment is 5, and the first and final call is 2 per share. But application for 3,000 shares were received, and the pro rata allotment was made to all the applicants. And one shareholder having 3,000 shares failed to pay allotment and call money, and his shares were forfeited. And out of the forfeited shares, 2,500 shares were reissued as fully paid at the rate of 8 per share. So here you look at the question once again. So here our company invited applications for, our requirements is only 2,000 equity shares. The value of the share, you can see that rupees 10, but application money 3 and allotment is 5, first and final call is 2. So take the total, you can see 3 plus 5 plus 2, that means total is 10 per share. But you know, this company, maybe it is a very good company, the company is getting a very good response from the public. So application we are receiving worth rupees 3,000 shares were received, and the company is made pro rata allotment. You know, here one value based question is there. Suppose you are the director of the company. Company's requirements is 2 lakh and the company is getting a 3 lakh. As a director, what are the alternative arrangements for adjusting this over subscription? You know, the company's requirements is 2 lakh and we are getting a 3 lakh. As a director, what are the alternatives to adjust this over subscription? So here answer is very simple. Either you can reject this 1 lakh rupees shares, or otherwise you can apply the doctrine of pro rata allotment. We can apply the doctrine or the principle of what? Pro rata allotment, the proportionate allotment. So suppose you are demanding 1,000 shares, but company is giving only 800 shares, and also some internal adjustment is there, and this is what is called the pro rata allotment. And also you can see the question contains over subscription, and also you can see that internal adjustment is there. And also one more point is there, the shareholder Mr. Ravi, who was allotted 3,000 shares, failed to pay allotment and call money. So that means that particular shareholder is not paid allotment money also. In this case you can see that we are applying a pro rata allotment. So company's requirements is only 2 lakh, but company's requirements is only 2 lakh, but we are getting what? 3,000 shares and 3 lakh shares, and out of that you can see that 1 lakh is excess, that excess they are internally adjusting, and one shareholder having 3,000 shares, he failed to pay calls money, allotment money and calls money, and his shares are forfeited. So that is the contents of this question. So here you can see the first entry is bank account debtor to share application account. So you know that we are getting the value of the share is 3,000 into application money. So that is what is called 9 lakh. Then afterwards you can see allotment money, here no premium, no discount is there. So next procedure, you know, we are allotting the shares to the different applicants or sanctioning shares to different applicants. So that is what is called allotment of shares. So your entry is share allotment account debtor to capital accounts, and there no premium, nothing is there. Then again next point is, so that application money, so we are transferring. So our requirements is only 2 lakh, but we received 3 lakh, and 1 lakh we are transferring. That means we are transferring to the allotment accounts. Either you can reject that 1 lakh or you can internally adjust that 1 lakh. So your entry is share application account debtor to capital account to allotment account. So look at the monitor. So 3,000 into application, that is 3 lakh into application money, and capital is only 2 lakh into application money, and internal adjustment is that 1 lakh into application money, that is 9 lakh and 6 lakh and 3 lakh. Then again next point is, you know, bank account debtor to share allotment account. So here you know that how we can find out this bank account debtor to share allotment. So that is the main thing, you know, this here we are applying pro rata adjustment is there. So how we are calculating this bank account debtor to share allotment account. So look at the monitor, the total number of shares applied by Ravi. So how to calculate? So company is allotted to Mr. Ravi is 3,000 shares. So what about the Mr. Ravi applied to the company? So you can calculate the Ravi applied up is equal to company's final allotment divided by company's requirements into individual allotments. So here company's requirements is 3 lakh and company's requirements is 2 lakh, but company got 3 lakh and individual allotment is 3,000. So what about Mr. Ravi applied to the company is equal to 3 lakh divided by 2 lakh into 3,000 is equal to 4,500. So 4,500 minus 3,000 is equal to 1,500, and 1,500 into application money, that is 3, that means 4,500. So what is the meaning of this? So the meaning is Mr. Ravi applied to the company for getting 4,500 shares, but company is allotted to this particular person, that is only 3,000 shares. That means 4,500 minus 3,000, 1,500 shares value is with the company, or excess money is with the company, that is 1,500 share is a value we want to find out, that is what is called 1,500 into 3, that is 4,500. So this is the excess money with the company. Once again, Mr. Ravi applied to the company for getting 4,500 shares, but company allotted only 3,000 shares. So here what about the excess application? 4,500 minus 3,000 is equal to 1,500. And what about the application money? 1,500 into 3, that is 4,500. So that is the case number 1. Then case number 2, allotment money due from Mr. Ravi, or allotment money due from Ravi, that is Ravi's 3,000 into allotment money is 3,000 into 5, that is 15,000, and out of that excess money is with the company is equal to 4,500. So the remaining 10,500 is allotment money due from Mr. Ravi. Allotment money due from Mr. Ravi is equal to how much? 10,500. So here you can see allotment money due from Mr. Ravi is equal to how much? 10,500. And next procedure, allotment money due from all shareholders. And what about allotment money due from all shareholders? Allotment money due from all shareholders. You know, company total how many shareholders are there? 2 lakh. So 2 lakh into 5. So 2 lakh into 5, that means so 10 lakh shares. So the company is supposed to get 10 lakh shares, and company is supposed to get 10 lakh shares, and out of that internal adjustment is less internal adjustment, that is 1 lakh into internal adjustment is 1 lakh into 3, that is 3 lakh, and amount due from Mr. Ravi is equal to 10,500. So once again, allotment money due from the total shareholder is 2 lakh into 5, that is 1 lakh, and but internal adjustment is 1 lakh into 3 lakh, and amount due from Mr. Ravi is equal to 10,500. So the amount we are expecting on account of allotment is only 6,89,500. So we are expecting money on account of allotment is equal to 6,89,500. So you look at the monitor. So our entry is so our entry C, bank account to share allotment is 6,89,500. So once again I will repeat all the entries. So our requirements is only 2 lakh, but we received 3 lakh, and out of that 1 lakh is internally adjusted. So journal entry is bank account to share application account, and second entry is share allotment account to share capital, and third entry is share application account debtor to capital account to allotment. So here you can see we received 3 lakh into 3, but actual we are transferring to capital is 2 lakh into 3, and internal adjustment is 1 lakh into 3. So then again bank account to share allotment is as per our working notes 6,89,500. So next entry, share first and final call account is share first and final call account debtor to share capital is 4 lakh, and bank account debtor to share and first and final call account is 3,94,000, because bank account debtor calls in arrears account debtor to share first and final call account, because the shareholder is not paid what first and final call. So then afterwards the journal entry for forfeiture is share capital account debtor to calls in arrears and to forfeiture, because one shareholder having 3,000 shares is not paid allotment and calls, that is why his shares are forfeited. So your entry is share capital account debtor to calls in arrears and to forfeiture accounts. So then afterwards you can see the question, this forfeiture shares are reissued at a discount. So you can see that we are forfeited 3,000 shares, but out of that only part of the shares we are reissuing at a discount. So your journal entry is bank account debtor, forfeiture account debtor to share capital account, and the last entry is forfeiture account debtor to capital reserve. So you can see the last entry is what? Forfeiture account debtor to what? Capital reserve. So here part of the forfeited shares are reissued, and here also you can see very important one more calculations are there. We are forfeited 3,000 shares, but we are reissuing only 2,500 shares. We are issuing only 2,500 shares. So what is the calculation? You can see when we are forfeiting 3,000 shares, we are getting the forfeiture amount is 13,500 divided by 3,000 into 2,500. I think a reissuing share is 2,500. Yes, correct. So that means we are getting 11,250. So when we are forfeiting 3,000 shares, we are getting 13,500, and what about 2,500? So we are getting only 11,250. Then again we are issuing shares at a discount. So you can look at the previous journal entry, bank account debtor, forfeiture account debtor to share capital. So your answer is 11,250 minus 5,000, that is a forfeiture or a loss. Now you can see your answer is 6,250. That means the share forfeiture account debtor to capital reserve is equal to how much? share forfeiture to capital. So you can see share forfeiture account debtor to capital reserve is equal to how much? 6,250. Now look at, see, this is what is called a pro rata allotment. Now you can see that this month we have very busy schedule, and now practical is coming. The next week onwards we have practicals, accountancy, business studies, and entrepreneurship. We have practical is there, and we are all busy, and you properly make your own schedules, because now our board examination is coming. And so next class I am going to take debentures. So what do you mean by debenture, and what are the different types of debentures, and what is the difference between shareholder and debenture holder, and what are the methods for the various cases for the redemption of debentures, and the last part, the redemption, what are the different methods for redemption of shares. So okay, once again I am repeating. So tomorrow, next class we are going to discuss, so what do you mean by debenture, or under what circumstances the company is going to issue debentures. So that is the next part. So now you can see this chapter is very important for your board examination. So just go through this pro rata allotment and forfeiture of shares, and calls in arrears and calls in advance, and also the shares are issued for consideration other than cash. So etc. Go through the test books and model examination papers plus our board examination papers. So now we can proceed. So what do you mean by debentures and issue of debentures? What are the different methods for issuing of debentures, or under what circumstances the company is issuing the debentures? Under what circumstances the company is going to issue the debenture? You know that whenever companies requires an additional capital, and without changing their capital structure. So once again, whenever companies requires an additional capital without changing their capital structure, the company can issue debentures. Then what do you mean by debenture? So section 2 and subsection 12 of the Companies Act 1956. So what do you mean by debenture? So section 2 subsection 12 of the Companies Act 1956 explaining the method of issuing the debentures and the meaning of debentures and what are the legal proceedings for issuing the debentures. All these part is coming under section 2 and subsection 12 of the Companies Act 1956. So here once again you are already studied different type of shares and under what circumstances you are going to issue the debentures. So answer is whenever companies requires an additional capital without altering their capital structure, they can issue another document. That document is known as debenture. So then what do you mean by debenture? Debenture is an instrument issued only by a public limited company under its common seal and acknowledging the debt to the holder is known as debenture. This definition is a little tough. So what do you mean by debenture? Debenture is an instrument issued only by a public limited company under its common seal and acknowledging the debt to the holder. We are acknowledging the debt to the holder is known as debenture. Section 2 subsection 12 of the Companies Act 1956. Then again very important question for your board examination. What is the difference between share and debentures? Or otherwise, what is the difference between shareholder and debenture holder? Now we are already studying last 2 episodes. I am focusing only company accounts and issue of shares. So you know that my colleagues and also my colleagues plus my parents are giving a very good support, and they are asking lot of questions about this company accounts and issue of shares. I am getting a good feedback from my students. So here I am giving more importance to company accounts and issue of debentures. Now you can see next class onwards we are focusing on cash flow statement and accounting ratios. Now listen, so once again I am repeating, so what is the difference between share and debentures? So you know last many CBSE board papers they are asking this question. So what is the basic difference between share and debentures or shareholder and debenture holders? You know shareholder is the owner of the company, but debenture holder is the creditor of the company. You know basic difference between shares and debentures. Shareholder is the real owner of the company, but debenture holder is the creditor of the company. Then another point, you can see shareholder is getting a dividend, but what about debenture holder? The debenture holder is getting a interest. See, that's also very important point. You can see shareholder is getting a dividend from the company. The portion of the profit is declared, that is what is called dividend. Shareholder is getting a dividend, but debenture holder is getting an interest. Then again third point you can see, so the shares which we cannot convert it into debentures, but the debentures we can convert it into shares. Then another point you can see, the shareholder have wide voting powers, but debenture holder have no voting powers. So that is also very important point. Shareholder have wide voting powers, but debenture holder have no voting powers. Then again another point you can see, the shares we are returning the share or share capital only at the time of winding up of the company. The debenture at any time you can redeem the debentures. So these are the basic difference between shareholder and debenture holder, or the difference between shares and debentures. So once again, whenever company requires an additional capital without altering their capital structure, they can issue another document. That document is known as a debenture. Debenture is an instrument issued only by a public limited company under its common seal, and acknowledging the debt to the holder is known as debenture. And also we have lot of doubts, who is a shareholder and who is a debenture holder. You know, debenture is a part of the credit of the company, and the shareholder is the owner, and the debenture holder is only a creditor of the company. And shareholder have, you know, they have lot of voting powers and more power is there, but debenture holder have not that much power is there. And again you can see what are the different type of debentures. Types of debentures. So we are studying only two type of shares we are studying. And what about types of debentures? You can see secured debenture is there, unsecured debenture is there, and registered debenture is there, and bearer debenture is there, and convertible debentures are there, and non-convertible debentures are there. So these are the different types of debentures. So once again, so what do you mean by debentures and what are the different types of debentures? The first point is secured debenture and unsecured debenture. The word itself, the meaning is there. You know, fixed debentures or a secured debentures. The secured debentures are those debentures which we are issuing by giving a security. By giving a security in the form of an asset, that is what is called secured debentures. Secured debentures are those debentures which the company is issued by giving a security or in the form of an asset, or a liquid asset is what known as secured debentures. And just opposite, that is what is called unsecured debentures or a naked debentures. The debenture which we are issuing without giving or without allowing or without offering any security, so that is what is called unsecured debentures. So debentures, you can see a lot of debentures, the types of debentures. Number one, you know, secured debentures and unsecured debentures. Then another point is, you know, registered debentures and bearer debentures. So what do you mean by registered debentures? The registered debenture means the name of the debenture holder is registered in the company's minute book. The properly it is already entered in the company's register. So that type of debenture is known as registered debentures. The actual holder's name is properly registered in the company's register. So that type of debenture is known as, you know, registered debenture. And what do you mean by bearer debenture? Bearer debenture means the bearer of the document is entitled to get interest from the company. So that is what is called, it is just like a bearer check. The bearer of the document is entitled to get interest from the company. That type of debentures are known as bearer debentures. You heard about the bearer check, the bearer document, the bearer, the person who is having. So there no titleship is there. The person who is having this particular debenture is getting the dividend, interest from the company. So that is what is called the bearer debenture. So once again, so first point is secured debenture, and the second point is unsecured debenture, and third one is registered debenture, and next one is bearer debenture. Now you can see the last part, that is convertible debentures and non-convertible debentures. Convertible means very easy. You know that these debentures we can convert it into shares at any time. So you can convert, the company is giving an option. So you can convert the shares into shares. That type of shares are known as, or debentures are known as convertible debentures, which we cannot convert into shares. That is what is called non-convertible debentures. And again the last point is redeemable debentures and irredeemable debentures. You know, certain conditions, the company have power to redeem the debentures. The debentures may be taken back by the debenture company. Maybe suppose I am issuing the debentures for 5 years, or the company is issuing the debentures for 5 years. After 5 years, the company have full power to redeem the debentures or taken back the debentures. So that type of debentures are known as redeemable debentures, and the company is not giving that kind of, you know, rights to the debenture holder. That is what is called irredeemable debentures. So redeemable debentures and irredeemable debentures. So here you can see once again, so what are the different type of debentures? Secured debentures and unsecured debentures, and registered debentures and bearer debentures, and convertible debentures and non-convertible debentures, and redeemable debentures and irredeemable debentures. So what do you mean by debenture? What is the difference between shareholder and debenture holder? And when the company is issuing normally debentures, the next procedure, you know, accounting treatment for debentures. It is just like a share only. Debentures can be issued for cash, and the debentures can be issued for consideration other than cash. The procedure is same like shares. The only slight changes are there. So example, the debentures can be issued for consideration other than cash. It is just like the shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. Example, you are purchasing an asset, but we are not issuing giving money, but instead of that we are issuing a debentures. The entry is same like shares. So what is that entry? You are already studied. Asset accounted to vendor and vendors accounted to debentures. It's a par value. And the case number 2, you know that the debentures are issued for consideration other than cash. So that is what is called, we are purchasing an asset and issue debentures at par value. And second case, it is same like shares, the asset purchased and issue debentures for premium. And third case is asset purchase and issue of debentures at a discount. You know, first case, what is the entry? Asset accounted to vendor and vendors accounted to debentures. And the second case, you know that same entry we are repeating, asset account to vendor, but vendors account debtor to premium to debentures. And third case, asset account to vendor, that is a common entry, and vendors account debtor, discount account debtor to debentures. So these are the different treatments. You know, this part is very easy because it is just like a share only you know, slight changes are there. Just go through the board papers and our reference books, you will get all the, you know, accounting treatments of debentures. The last part, you know, various cases for the redemption of debentures. You know, we are issuing the debentures at par value and redeemed at a premium, and debentures are issued at a discount and redeemed at par value. Different cases are there. So there are 6 cases are there. So that is the last part of this chapter, the debenture. This the debenture part is a very small chapter. It is a very easy chapter. The last part, again one more part is left, that is what is called the redemption of debentures. You know, what are the different methods for the redemption of debentures, and what are the different sources for the redemption of debentures, and what do you mean by redemption of debentures, and what are the accounting treatment for debenture redemption reserves. What are the accounting treatments and what are the exemptions for keeping debenture redemption reserves, and different sources for the redemption of debentures. Means discharge the liability on account of debenture is known as the redemption of debentures. You know that discharge the liability on account of debenture is known as the redemption of debentures, and what are the different methods for the redemption of debentures, and what are the sources for the redemption of debentures, and finally, so how we are keeping debenture redemption reserves, and what are the accounting treatments for redemption DRR. So these are the things what we have studied so far. Now please go through the chapter company accounts, and plus my first episodes we are already completed: admission, fundamentals of partnership, admission of partners, and retirement, dissolution, death. Now almost we are going to finish our portions, and next episode onwards we are going to take the second book, that is what is called the cash flow statement and accounting ratios. Then finally we will discuss, and we will just go through the board examination papers. Now you can see, and next week onwards you people are very busy because your practical is already started. So Sunday onwards your accountancy, business studies and all practical will be there. So all the best. Now it is a time for winding up. So thank you very much. The James Thomas from Sharjah Indian School. All the best. Thank you very much.